Hi, I'm Deonna Kelli Sayed, and I'm here to talk about Podcasting 101, a very basic overview about what podcasting is and how you can start your own. So, podcasting is an audio experience, and unlike video, you don't have to be in front of a device to enjoy podcasting. So, you can enjoy listening while you're exercising or cooking or doing laundry or whatever. So it's a very portable experience. Podcasting is a conversation experience, and it's a curated conversation experience. And I'm going to talk about a few popular podcast forms that a lot of writers enjoy. So the first and most popular form of podcasting is the conversation between two or more people. You have a host who will then interview a writer and just be in conversation about craft or life or whatever. This is the most popular form of podcasting because it's the easiest to produce. You don't have to have a lot of skills in audio editing to produce this kind of podcast. It's kind of a low bar level, and it's an accessible experience. The thing about the conversation, however, is you need to have a really good interviewer and a great interview subject, or else the conversation stalls and gets kind of boring. The cinematic interview experience, kind of like This American Life, where you are interviewing somebody, but it's about a specific event that has happened in their lives or a specific story. There's a clear narrative arc and often musical interludes. This is more compelling for a listener, but also requires a little bit more production skills. Fiction podcast, where these are like audiobooks but shorter and sometimes with some sound effects. This genre of podcasting works best with sci-fi and kind of like supernatural. The Night Vale is one I highly recommend. It's one of the first fiction podcasts that really became popular. And all it is like a fake radio show broadcasting from a small town where very strange things happen. You need an idea that's different from all the other ideas out there, and there are quite a lot of podcasts out there for writers. You need to have intermediate computer and technological skills. There is a learning curve to the software, audio editing software. And there are free versions of audio editing software, which I will share with you. You need a computer that can run the software. Audio files are pretty big files. Most computers should be okay, but if you have a budget laptop, it may not work. If you have an old computer, that's slowing down because there's limited memory. So you do have to think about if you have the stuff to do it. You need to figure out how to get your podcast into the world. You have to engage social media. There's a couple of different ways you can do that. There are also great hosting sites like SoundCloud, Buzzsprout, Blog Talk Radio, and even iTunes, and this is all in your handout. You do need equipment. You need an external microphone. I have a sock on it, by the way. And you need audio editing software, and you need to pay for your hosting if you choose to do that. Beginning podcasters who are really serious can start spending around $250, although you can do it for much, much less during your experimental phase. When it comes to hosting your podcast, this is when you're uploading your media file, there are several popular options. The most popular is SoundCloud, where you basically upload a finished project, and SoundCloud is used widely for bands and other people doing audio work. Buzzsprout is also great because you upload your podcast and they sort of distribute it through the different channels, and you even get a free webpage for your podcast in the Buzzsprout world. There is a free version of Buzzsprout. You do have to pay a little bit to get all the bells and whistles, but it's a nice starting place if you've never done a lot of work with podcasting before. Blog Talk Radio is also a great hosting site. You can actually broadcast your podcast live and take calls on the air and then archive it for people to listen to later. That's a little bit more expensive, but if you want to level up, that's certainly an option. And then of course there's iTunes, but you don't want to submit to iTunes until you have a pretty large body of work, or you know you're going to be able to do a podcast consistently. When it comes to audio editing software, You do have to learn how to edit your audio. I use Audacity to just do basic editing. Audacity is a free download for both PC and Mac, and it's very, very basic, no bells and whistles, but it's a wonderful place to start. If you're a Mac user, you have GarageBand in your computer, and GarageBand's a little bit more advanced than Audacity, that it has more. It even has sound effects and music. So if you have a Mac user, I would start with GarageBand. And then Hindenburg, which is about $100, is a great professional level audio editing software that's much, much cheaper than its counterparts. A lot of professional journalists in the field at NPR use Hindenburg. There are many wonderful ways writers can use audio, and probably the easiest and private way is to record yourself reading with your smartphone. If you have a smartphone, most smartphones, Androids or Apples, will have a voice memo app in which you can record yourself reading. I highly advise all writers to record themselves reading, because some of us just don't know how we sound. Some of us are uncomfortable with the way we sound, and it's incredibly empowering to listen to your voice. And if you're a good reader, if become a good reader, you can then record your poems or record excerpts from your fiction or nonfiction, and then actually put those up on SoundCloud as a teaser for some of your projects. And recording yourself and putting that out in the world takes a lot less effort than finding other people to talk to and record, and you can still engage audio as a multimedia experience as part of your platform as an author. So this is a very, very basic podcasting 101 for writers. In the handout, I have a podcast you can listen to that might be good. I also have more detailed information, and thank you so much for listening to me.